Meryl Streep, the name itself says it all, doesn't it? Grace, unmatched talent, and total professionalism. For 5 decades, she's been the gold standard in Hollywood, the most respected and decorated actress of her generation. Her colleagues talk about her with a kind of hushed awe. Her public image is all quiet dignity and brilliant composure. She is, for all intents and purposes, a living legend. But what if that calm exterior hides a firm line in the sand? And what happens when some of Hollywood's biggest names cross it? For years, whispers have bounced around the dark corners of the internet, fueling a rumor that has recently gone viral, that Meryl Streep, at 76, has finally broken her famous silence. The rumor that she has a list of 6 co-stars who, through their egos or their methods, ended up on the one list no actor ever wants to be on. Today, we're looking into that rumor. We're not just repeating gossip, we're investigating it. We're peeling back the curtain on the 6 actors who allegedly made the list and uncovering the real, often shocking, stories behind these legendary feuds. We'll explore the documented clashes and philosophical divides that built Streep's reputation not just as a brilliant actress, but as a silent guardian of professional standards. The question isn't just if these feuds happened, but why, and what they tell us about the real price of making movie magic. Before we reveal the first name, let's get one thing crystal clear. The title of this video is based on a viral rumor. It's a juicy headline, but it is not a statement of fact. As of August 2025, Meryl Streep has not publicly released or confirmed any kind of hate list. This video is an investigation into where those rumors came from. We're here to explore the well-documented conflicts and professional disagreements that got twisted into this mythical list. Our goal is to separate the proven facts from the fiction, using credible reports and interviews to understand what really happened behind the scenes. So, with that essential disclaimer out of the way, let's start with the most famous, most explosive, and most substantiated feud of Meryl Streep's entire career. The story starts in 1979, on the set of a film that would define a generation, Kramer vs. Kramer. The movie, a raw look at a painful divorce, demanded incredible emotional honesty from its stars. Meryl Streep, then a rising talent, played Joanna Kramer, a woman who leaves her husband and son. Opposite her was Dustin Hoffman, an industry titan, and a zealous follower of method acting. The tension on screen was electric, and it won them both Academy Awards. But that tension wasn't just good acting, it was real, and it was ugly. Hoffman, who was going through his own divorce, decided to pour his real-life anguish into the performance and all over his co-star. He seemed to believe that to get an authentic reaction from Streep, he had to provoke her, push her, and break her down. He did so with a cruelty that's now a dark Hollywood legend. These weren't small tiffs. They were calculated and psychological. In one of the film's most intense scenes, right before the cameras started rolling, Hoffman slapped Streep hard across the face, leaving a red mark. A shocked and furious Streep had to go on with the scene, her genuine distress captured forever. On film, she would later reflect on the moment, stating that for her first take in her first movie, the slap was a shocking overstep. For Streep, a classically trained actress who built her characters with empathy and research, this wasn't just unprofessional, it was an insult to her craft. But Hoffman didn't stop there. He unexpectedly shattered a wine glass against a wall without warning her, sending shards flying into her hair. Perhaps most cruel, though, was a moment of deep, personal viciousness. Streep was still grieving the recent death of her partner, the actor John Cazale. According to the biography, her again, becoming Meryl Streep, Hoffman, trying to get her to cry for the camera, leaned in and taunted her by whispering Cazale's name in her ear. This wasn't method acting, it was abuse. While some might argue he was pushing for realism, Streep saw it as a violation of trust and respect. In a 1979 interview with Time magazine, she even recalled their first meeting, where he allegedly groped her, an incident for which she called him an obnoxious pig. Though her team later said he apologized and the matter was dropped. The experience on Kramer vs. Kramer left a permanent mark. While she would later say all is forgiven, she also made it clear that his methods were wrong. The conflict set the tone for her professional conduct for the rest of her career. Her Oscar win proved she didn't need to be tormented to deliver a brilliant performance. The feud with Hoffman established a clear boundary. The work should never cost you your dignity. Next on the supposed list is a name you might not expect, Bruce Willis. They came together for the 1992 dark comedy, Death Becomes Her, a wild, special effects-driven satire of Hollywood's obsession with youth. Streep and Goldie Hawn played rivals who drink a potion for eternal life, with Willis as the hapless surgeon caught in the middle. Unlike the well-documented war with Hoffman, the rumored tension between Streep and Willis was more of a quiet cold front. There were no slaps or public fights. Instead, according to crew whispers that have trickled out over the years, this was a feud born from a total clash of work ethics. Meryl Streep, as always, showed up completely prepared, ready to dissect every line and nuance. Bruce Willis, then at the peak of his die-hard fame, was known for a different vibe. He He was a classic movie star, charismatic, instinctive, and famously relaxed. Reports suggest he was less interested in endless rehearsals, preferring to find the moment on camera, while Streep wanted to build it carefully beforehand, according to stories from the crew. This created a real friction. One source described it as watching two different approaches at once. Hers was art, his was instinct. While Streep aimed for precision, Willis allegedly favored a more casual, winging-it style that she reportedly found maddening. The set grew tense as the director tried to bridge the gap between their two energies. Now, it's important to say these accounts are purely anecdotal. Neither Streep nor Willis has ever publicly confirmed a feud. In fact, Willis eagerly took the role after Kevin Kline dropped out. But the evidence people point to is the chemistry or lack thereof in screen. Some critics at the time noted that Willis seemed out of place, as if he were acting in a completely different movie. The aftermath is maybe the most telling part. After Death Becomes Her, Streep and Willis's professional paths never crossed. Again, for an actress like Streep, who thrives on strong collaborations, that silent avoidance speaks volumes. This rumored feud wasn't personal. It was about professional incompatibility. It showed that Streep expects her scene partners to match her level of commitment. If you don't, you won't get a fight. You'll just get permanent professional distance. The third name on this rumored list moves us from on-set drama to a quieter, more intellectual conflict. This isn't a story about a slap or a cold shoulder. It's about a fundamental disagreement over what acting even is. The co-star is Jeremy Irons, and the film was 1981's The French Lieutenant's Woman. The movie was a complex puzzle. Streep and Irons played actors who were themselves playing characters in a Victorian drama. This structure naturally created a deep dive into performance and identity, and it also reportedly exposed the philosophical gap between its two stars. Meryl Streep comes from the inside-out school of acting. Her process is all about deep research. In psychological immersion, she builds a character from the soul outwards until the performance feels completely real. Her goal isn't just to play a character, but to become them. Jeremy Irons, while also a brilliant and respected actor, was seen by some as representing a more technical, outside-in approach. The long-standing rumor is that their methods were totally at odds. Streep was chasing the messy, emotional truth of a moment, while Irons was allegedly more focused on the technical precision of the performance. This supposed divide reportedly created unspoken tension. Irons himself later recalled being frustrated when the director wouldn't give him specific technical notes, the kind of external guidance he seemed to prefer. Streep, on the other hand, thrived on the internal exploration the director encouraged. Like the Willis story, the narrative of a feud with Jeremy Irons is interpretive. It's built on their different artistic backgrounds and the simple fact that, despite the film's success, they never worked together again. It's a feud of ideas. Did Streep find his approach hollow? Did he find hers self-indulgent? We'll likely never know for sure, as both have remained publicly respectful. But the story has become part of the Meryl Streep legend. The idea that for her, acting isn't just a job. It's a profound search for truth. She expects her collaborators to join her on that deep dive. Those who prefer to stay in the technical shallows, no matter how skilled, apparently won't be invited back. Our fourth entry takes us to one of Streep's most iconic roles, the terrifying fashion editor Miranda Priestley in 2006's The Devil Wears Prada. While Anne Hathaway and Emily Blunt have shared nothing but warm stories about the set, another co-star is at the center of a persistent rumor, Adrian Grenier, who played Andy's unsupportive boyfriend, Nate. The rumor is simple and sharp. Meryl Streep was reportedly unimpressed with Grenier's performance, according to stories that have swirled since the film's release. Streep, the ultimate perfectionist, found Grenier's relaxed style out of sync with the film's high-stakes tone, where she brought intense preparation to every single line. Grenier's performance was seen by some as too casual to stand opposite her powerhouse presence. This alleged clash of styles is said to have created a quiet friction. There are stories of Streep gently but firmly shutting down ideas to improvise or expand scenes involving Nate's character. It wasn't open hostility, but a clear signal of disapproval. The rumor is that she felt his character, and maybe the performance, weakened the film's sharp, satirical edge. But the most cited piece of evidence for this rumored feud is what happened after the movie. A sequel has been announced, with nearly all of the original casts, Streep Hathaway, Emily Blunt, and Stanley Tucci set to return. The one notable, confirmed absence, Adrian Grenier himself has commented on his surprise at being left out of reunion and sequel talks over the years. And while he's never blamed Streep, industry whispers have long suggested her influence was a factor. It's also interesting how public opinion of his character has shifted. Over the years, audiences have recast Nate as the true villain of the story, a boyfriend who held Andy back. While that's about the character, not the actor, It has fed the narrative that something just wasn't right. The rumor mill suggests Meryl Streep was just the first to notice. Again, there is no on-the-record confirmation of this. This is a story told in whispers, based on alleged on-set dynamics and Greenier's conspicuous absence from the sequel. It paints a picture of Streep as a fierce protector of her projects. For her, every actor is a key part of the whole. This story, true or not, reinforces her code. If your performance doesn't elevate the film, you won't get a second chance. This next name is maybe the most speculative of all, and it reveals how Hollywood rumors can be spun from almost nothing. It involves another industry titan, Ben Affleck. Unlike the others, this supposed feud isn't tied to a specific film set. Because here's the twist, they have never actually worked together. And according to the gossip, that's on purpose. The rumor suggests a professional coldness, an intentional avoidance between two of Hollywood's biggest players. But when you look closer, the case against Ben Affleck completely falls apart. In fact, there is direct evidence to the contrary. In 2017, when a certain political figure called Meryl Streep overrated Ben Affleck was one of her most passionate defenders. He told reporters, "If you look up great actress in the encyclopedia, you'll see Meryl Streep's face there, ... She's the best actress or actor that ever lived." Those are hardly the words of someone in a feud. Go back even further, and you'll find that when Affleck and Matt Damon were writing Good Will Hunting, they were desperate to attach a huge star like Streep to get it made. This points to a long-standing admiration, not animosity. So why does this rumor even exist? It's a classic example of Hollywood logic. When two huge stars don't have a connection, people can spin it into a conflict. It's a story born from what hasn't happened, rather than what has. The feud with Ben Affleck is almost certainly fiction. But it's useful because it shows the power of Streep's reputation. Her standards are seen as so high that even a total lack of interaction with another star can be twisted into a story of her silent disapproval. Our final entry is different. It's not a co-star, and the feud wasn't fought on a film set. It was a clash of titans waged in public. A conflict with the only other actress whose legend is as big as Streep's, Katharine Hepburn. For decades, Hepburn was the queen, holding the record for the most acting Oscars. Then came Meryl Streep, who started breaking records and being called Hepburn's successor. Title Hepburn apparently hated. In a biography published after her death, Hepburn's real feelings came out. She named Meryl Streep as her least favorite modern actress. Her criticism was sharp and philosophical. She found Streep's acting too technical, too calculated, and with no spontaneity. Her most famous jab was that when she watched Streep, all she could hear was the click, click, click of the wheels turning inside her head. To Hepburn, Streep wasn't living in a role. She was demonstrating a technique. This was a clash between two eras and two philosophies. Hepburn came from an age where stardom was built on a powerful, undeniable personality. You went to a Hepburn movie to see Katharine Hepburn. Streep, on the other hand, was the master of transformation. Her genius was her ability to completely disappear. What Hepburn saw as the cold click, click, click of a machine, a new generation saw as genius. What's most amazing is how Streep responded to this. She didn't. She never got into a war of words. She never defended her process. She just kept working and transforming. In 2004, while accepting a Lifetime Achievement Award, she paid tribute to Hepburn, humbly questioning how she could even be mentioned in the same breath. It was pure grace in the face of criticism. This feud was a debate over the very definition of great acting, and by refusing to fight back, by letting her body of work be her only rebuttal, Streep showed her ultimate power. She didn't need to win the argument. She just needed to keep acting. So, there you have it. The complex and often misunderstood stories behind the 6 names on Meryl Streep's supposed hate list. From the genuinely ugly battles with Dustin Hoffman to the critiques from a legend like Katharine Hepburn, and all the whispered rumors in between. Which of these stories surprised you the most? Was it the shocking behavior on the set of Kramer vs. Kramer, or the quiet, rumored chill with Bruce Willis? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the real stories of Hollywood, go ahead and hit that like button, share this video, and be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss another investigation. So let's circle back to the big question. At 76, did Meryl Streep finally name the 6 actors she hated the most? The answer, based on all credible evidence, is a clear and simple no. The list is a myth, a piece of internet folklore stitched together from a few documented conflicts, a lot of unverified rumors, and pure speculation. Meryl Streep has never publicly released a list like that. Her reputation for professionalism and discretion is as solid as ever. But just because the list isn't real, doesn't mean these stories aren't revealing. They show us something much more interesting than simple hate. They reveal the unprofessional standards of a master of her craft. What gets sensationalized as hate is really just Streep's deep respect for the art of acting. The conflict with Dustin Hoffman was a rejection of on-set abuse and a statement that art doesn't require torment. The rumored tensions with actors like Bruce Willis and Adrian Grenier highlight her intolerance for a perceived lack of preparation. The philosophical debates with Jeremy Irons and Katharine Hepburn underscore her belief in a specific, immersive approach to her work. The real story isn't about a list of people Meryl Streep hates. It's about the invisible, ironclad wall of professionalism she's built around her work. She doesn't get into public fights. Her power is in her silence. Her disapproval isn't shown through angry words, but through the quiet, final act of walking away. The real list isn't written down. It's seen in the co-stars she never works with again. Maybe the legend of the hate list continues because we love the idea that even the most graceful people have a breaking point. But Meryl Streep's story shows us that her breaking point isn't about anger, it's about standards. The list may not be real, but the legend of her integrity, her discipline, and her quiet demand for excellence absolutely is.